How we doing, everybody? This is Hoop Talk presented by Reveel TV. It's your guy, Sonny D. I'm kicking it here with my guy, Schuz. Episode 2. We got Trey Pettigrew coming through later, but initially, right out of the gate, we're going to get into some rankings. Just the discussion around rankings. What does it mean for players? What does it mean for fans? What does it mean for coaches? What do rankings mean? I mean, as a society, I think something always has to be the best. Michael Jordan's the best. Taco Bell's the best. I mean, whatever you want to say, something is always better than something. That's just kind of how we live. And I know just from watching your channel, Schuz, that you're not a big fan of rankings. So I kind of want to know, your thoughts on it and what you think about it just out of the gate.
Yeah, so I think when you look at rankings, they have some great things that really cause a lot of controversy. People always like talking about them. It's big for clickbait, but when you really get down into it, we know these guys are kids. I think I'm totally a big fan of ranking, obviously, college guys, pros. We see more what the final product could be looking like, but we see in high school there's many stories about guys that are growing in rate later on, guys that haven't even come close to reaching their full potential yet. And we see these guys, like, of course, a big example right now is John Moran, but we see Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook. A lot of these guys aren't top 100 or not even near where they potentially even are supposed to be. These guys are Hall of Fame level players that weren't ranked, were low ranked. And that's where we see a lot of controversy. And another big factor for me is we know today there's such a heavy presence of guys from outside the country. We see European prospects. We see guys from Canada, wherever it might be. A lot of these guys aren't being ranked into this mix. And we see guys like Luka, which clearly would have been one of the better players in whatever his class would have been. So we kind of need to see, like, who's truly the best player. We're talking college, pro, and then we kind of throw all the players in this where we can truly get the right guys. And I think it's just a really hard job today in this world.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I never even thought about that and going back looking at stuff like that. When Luka's 16 playing professional basketball, how does he get ranked? I mean, he was never in any kind of rivals list or 24/7 list or anything, ESPN list for that matter, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of them say that they're not going to rank players from other countries because it's kind of hard for them, but that just kind of goes to say, I mean, if we're making rankings that are for the best prospects for NBA, best prospects for college, you got to throw everyone in there because we know these European guys are coming to college, they're doing their thing, especially going to the NBA and doing their thing. So if we're truly trying to know who's the best prospects in that year, it's kind of hard to say if that's truly an accurate estimation of who the best players are.
How important do you think, I guess we'll start with, how important do you think rankings are for a player? Let's say somebody who's ranked number 7 and somebody who's ranked number 190. How important is rankings for an actual player who's hooping, trying to go to the next level, trying to get their name out?
I think it can be depending on you and how you want to look at it. Overall, my main thing would be it shouldn't be important to you. Don't let it worry to you and to the point where it makes you down yourself, lose confidence, all that. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what someone else thinks about you. But as you said, I think when you are a guy that is a lower ranked player, even if you're number 2, you want to be number 1, you want to make the NBA someday, you can use that as motivation. You want to prove to other people, this is my game. But personally, I think when you look at guys that want to be pro someday, that drive needs to be kind of instilled in you, self-instilled, not based on what other people, like, if you want that job, you want to be a top player, you think you are the best, you want to be a top college, top NBA player, I think that internal drive needs to be in you. You need to be the guy that wants to drive. You want to go after, you think you are the best and want to be the best, no matter what anyone says to you.
Just got to hoop. You just got to hoop. Don't worry about it. I mean, like I said before, it is an important thing, though, for everybody who's number 1. Do you think rankings is important for a coach? I know you kind of talk to a lot of coaches as well. I mean, how does that factor into the recruiting process?
Yeah, a lot of coaches don't really look at them. They might look at them in this past year to kind of get an idea. This is who they think is good. This is who they might think is a good player. I'll go check them out. But in terms of are they number 1 player, I'm just going to pursue him because he's number 1, or I'm going to pursue him because he's number 60, or I want to pursue him because he's unranked. That's not the case. We see coaches have to get into the work. So they have to go recruit, go find players, and ultimately we see guys that pull together great recruiting classes of guys that might not even be a 5-star, and they just need to truly look at who they think is the best player. And a lot of them aren't going to look at rankings. It's not going to apply too much to them because they just want to find who's the best fit, who fits my system, character-wise. All this stuff comes in their own system. So truly, they're not going to look at rankings too much other than maybe a general, this is who's good kind of estimate.
So it sounds like rankings might just be really for the fans then. Mm-hmm. Oh, we got RJ Barrett in number 1 recruit in the country. Oh, we got Zion Williamson, number 3 recruit in the country. They're coming to our school. They're going to be hooping at Cameron Indoor. They're going to be us. They're going to be representing us. So, I mean, I I personally think that I'm kind of in the middle of the whole thing. I do agree with, like we kind of talked earlier, some of these kids grow 7 inches from junior year to senior year, from senior year to freshman year, whatever. I mean, people obviously grow past that point too. Paul George grew in the NBA, I think a few inches, but for the most part, a lot of these kids are still growing into their bodies. Maybe they just grew, they're a little clumsy, trying to get their handles, trying to figure out how to walk in their size 20 feet, like whatever it might be. But we do have some statistics to back that up. Shout out to Russell Goldberg from the Pudding.cool. 84% of the top 10 high school prospects make it to the NBA. And 27% of the top 100 prospects make it to the NBA. I mean, that sounds kind of crazy to me. I mean, it sounds like a lot of people succeed and accomplish what they've been chasing their whole life.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think what we look at is a lot of these guys are these top players, and they're really based on potential for a lot of the cases. There are some guys that are truly skilled, pan out. We think typically I say the number one player almost always goes, but we do see a lot of them. They're going to get a chance. If you have a freakishly long body, you're athletic, something like that, you're going to be drafted at some point. You're going to get a chance in the NBA. But my thing I truly look at is who pans out past that. And we see a lot of those guys that are top picks that were formerly top players coming out of high school. They might not make the league past the second deal, or they might just become rotational guys, end of the bench. There's nothing wrong with that. It's still a great career, a great living. But the big thing is we see a lot of these guys, even per se, something like Donovan Mitchell, he was ranked around 45 to 47 around those three rankings, depending on the resort you're going to look at. He clearly is a guy that we regard as an all-star. He's a top player in the NBA, and he was also picked outside the lottery too. But he clearly jumped a lot of guys ranked in front of him, a lot of guys drafted in front of him, and that's a typical story we see with a lot of top players. So that's kind of where I look at who's the guys that truly pan out and become the stars.
Yeah, I mean, looking at some of the stuff I have right in front of me, honestly, kind of what you just said, it looks like, yeah, all of those people make it. That's a good thing. You say become a role player. That's not a failure. Like I said, you just changed your life. But it does look like a lot of these superstars of the NBA, minus your LeBron Jameses of the world and stuff like that. I mean, you said Steph, Dame, Russell Westbrook, Paul George. These are the superstars of the NBA, and these dudes were unranked in high school. So, I mean, I do see it going both ways. I kind of look at it like somebody who's just, obviously, we're all competitive. You want to be number one. So whoever number one is right now, it's Chet for 2021. Everybody's going for Chet's neck right now. I mean, they want to be number one. Paulo probably thinks I'm number one. Jaden probably thinks I'm number one. Like, I've hooped Chet. I've seen Chet hoop, like, this dude isn't good. That's what they're all saying about him. So, I mean, I do agree with you too, though. That shouldn't be your main focus, especially as a high school athlete. But I do think it can, spark something up. Like, man, I'm going to go show out today. I mean, we got that Amani Chet game. They both balled out, and they're like, man, I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you. And look what we got, a show. So, I mean.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that people really see is what are these rankings truly projecting? I think is a massive difference. Are these the top 100 best players in high school today? Like, if you're going to put together a high school roster, are these in order of who you want to dominate a high school game? Is this who you think is going to pan out and become the best college stars, the best college players, or is this truly who's going to be the best pro players? Because each level's game are drastically different. High school is a much more condensed court. Guys are not going to be playing as freely as not much space to go out there. We see the college level, it's much more a team game, point guard dominant. That could also fluctuate depending on rankings. NBA is much more free. NBA potential we know is a huge thing, and I think some of them might combine them all, and they're not really clear. What are they truly ranking? Are these the best high school, college, or pro prospects? And that's really where I look at, because I think these lists would drastically change depending on what kind of game you're planning for these guys to pan out in.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a top 10 list here presented by Reveel. We'll read that off a little later. We are going to get into some ESPN 24/7 and Rivals rankings. Most of you guys probably know it, and I know you do, Schuz. But just going off what you just said, looking at a ranking like ESPN 1 through 10, what kind of list do you think that list is? Is that a list for people who are the best in high school right now? This is a list for college ready, pro ready? When you look at ESPN's list, what do you take out of that list? Top 10.
I think we see a lot of potential in that one. I think there are some guys we see, well, obviously a lot of these will pan out in college too. They're going to be great players there, but I think we do see a lot more towards the potential aspect. I know Paul Biancardi is obviously very familiar with the college game, pros as well, and he's covered it for a very long time. But you see Chet, I'm not sure there's a guy maybe potential wise that could develop into something more special in Chet being a guy. I think him and Mike Foster both in that potential stage where they're there, Peyton Watson as well. These guys are obviously long. They're nowhere near the max potential they're eventually going to reach. You see Jaden Hardy, he's not necessarily potential because he's just so skilled right now. He's still got a lot of room to grow, don't get me wrong. But he's just so skilled. You don't see those super long arms, all that. Jabari Smith, same kind of category. Pat Baldwin, Kayla Houston, a lot of these Musa Diabate to Nate Biddle. Kenny Chandler's a really right now dominant player too. He kind of mixes them in a little bit, but we do see a lot more towards the NBA side.
Looking at ESPN's.
Yeah, or ESPN.
For 24/7 rivals, I guess all three. I mean, now I don't want to put pressure on you. This is not your list because you're not doing that. But looking at those three, what would you say the best list would be in your opinion?
Out of those three, I would have to say, I think it's different. I think you have to have someone like Peyton Watson should be in your top 10. I also would say Mike.
And he's not in anybody's top 10.
And I think
except Reveals, but we'll get into that.
I think that's a problem we see with a lot of them this year too, that these guys from California aren't playing basketball. They haven't seen Peyton Watson play nearly a year. So of course they're not going to rank him, but that's part of the reason I'm not really a big fan of rankings updated right now because everyone's not playing games. So I think you have to, I mean, I'm personally not a big fan of all of them just because there's so many different opinions into them. But I think a guy Peyton Watson should be in there. Mike Foster as well. So I think someone like, I'd have to say 247, ESPN are probably two of my favorites because they do involve Mike Foster in them. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of changes I'd make for a lot of them, but off that, I think ESPN 247 are about equal in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, last week we were talking about Ty Washington, somebody who was outside of the top 100. He's moved into the top 50. I think even creeping up more and more with everything that's been going on. Has situations like that where people from in the hundreds and 50s, are they moving up because they're playing? I mean, is the top 10 even fluctuating at this point? Because you just said a lot of these people, some of them aren't playing. I mean, has anything really been moving within these rankings?
Oh, yes. A ton of stuff's been happening right now. Pat Baldwin, for example, is a guy we haven't seen a lot of. He didn't really get much in the AAU season. He had an injury and missed quite a few games for high school so far. He's been dropped. Some people had him at number one. I forgot the site. I think it was 247 had him number one. He's clearly not that spot anymore. I jumped to number 3. But there's a lot of them going on. Guys are coming in and out. Peyton Watson was top 10 for a little bit there. He's clearly not in them for whatever reason that is. But we see a lot of fluctuating right now because the guys not playing, guys playing. It really depends on who's really just being able to be seen right now.
That being said, with all the high school rankings fluctuating, Reveel TV did put together a top 10 list. This is not Schuz's top 10 list. If Schuz had a top 10 list, you would have seen that top 10 list already. So this is presented by Reveel TV. At number 1, I mean, listen, Chet Holmgren, like you said before, looking at him, this kid is still 18 years old. He's going to get better. So what is that even going to look like? I mean, I think he is undeniably the best basketball player in the country. What do you think about Chet at number 1?
I do like it. I think that he is someone that's spectacular. There's a lot of different comparisons to what he could become. There's not too many exactly like him. I know he's not
KD.
I think it might be to a degree of that. I think he's not necessarily as fluid of a shot. I mean, KD's a once in a lifetime generational guy. And personally, I'm not like a guy that's comparing guys to like the best of all time, but he has a lot of abilities that he could do something like that. We see Nikola Jokic, we know could be a comparison. Just the fact that he is that bigger center kind of player, facilitate and pass, can score, all that. But Chet's clearly a little bit taller than him. He's longer, lengthier, a way more athletic, I'd say, too, than him. I think it's going to be a combo mix. You see of someone like the Jokic passing ability. We see just the length of someone. You could say, I guess, Kevin Durant in terms of the shot to a degree there. He really is spectacular. I think he will be a star. It's just going to be kind of changing the game for him. There's not exactly a direct comparison to what Chet brings to a team.
Number 2, we got Jaden Hardy.
This is a guy that Rashad Phillips and all, I've talked a lot about him before. He is a 6-star kind of player. He is spectacular. He can score at all facets. There's not a better scorer in the country than Jaden Hardy. When we're talking about who do you need to go get you a bucket right now, I'm picking Jaden Hardy every single time because he is someone who can score at any place on the court. He's shooting NBA threes with people on him in pressure scenarios. He's got energy. He's a lockup defender. This is a kind of a guaranteed guy. I know there's comparisons to a Bradley Beal type, a Devin Booker, whatever you want to say. He does have that scoring ability. Ray Allen's another one that could really be that kind of characteristic. He's athletic to a degree, not super athletic, but he can get that job done at the NBA level. He can score from all clips. He's one of the more guaranteed pros, I'd say, right now.
Number 3, we got the brand new Blue Devil, Paulo Banchero. I don't even think he's playing right now, is he?
No, not really. He's right now trying to finish up school. I interviewed him a little bit ago, and he obviously would like to have been able to go enroll at Duke early. School is not really allowing that scenario to happen for him right now, but he's going to hopefully try having some form of season later on. It's not officially ruled out, I don't believe yet, but what Duke's getting in him is another one of Coach K's big men. Coach K huge on getting those forwards, small forward, power forward guys. We've seen Marvin Bagley, Brennan Carey, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram. This list goes on and on. Just Jabari Parker. These small forward, power forward, prototype kind of guys. Paulo's going to fit right into the next group. He can score at a lot of different clips. He's very versatile. He's pretty athletic, not freakishly athletic once again, but he can get the job done there. Score from mid-range. He's starting to space out the three. An incredible defensive player as well. I think he's a guy that no matter what will be playing the NBA. I'm not sure what the draft pick will be. We'll see what he does at Duke, but overall, Coach K is going to thrive with Paulo. He's going to have an exceptional freshman year. He's a special player.
At number 4, we got your boy Peyton Watson. Man, this you've been talking about him on the first podcast. You talking about him today. You're going to talk about him some more, man. Let people know about Peyton Watson. We got him at 4 right here.
I mentioned before, right now, I don't care about rankings for Peyton Watson just because his potential is off the charts. When you just talk about his length, he's constantly growing. His jump from sophomore to junior year, which was his big blowout year, was jumping from pretty much unranked unknown to 5-star status. That's almost impossible to do that quick of a span. He managed to do that, and he's just been in the gym. I don't think there's a guy that works harder than Peyton Watson. He's in the gym this entire past year now working out. This jump he could have if he does get a chance to play in any capacity. I don't think he will, but if he does, that jump people will see is spectacular. And this is someone that KD is a huge fan of because he sees a lot of him and Peyton Watson. I think you get a guy, anything at the various 4. I think Brandon Ingram's a simple comparison, just long, can score at will. But I think Peyton's much more athletic than BI is. I think he can get to the rim better than BI can. I think Peyton Watson's ceiling is really off the charts. I don't know there is a ceiling for him. His potential in development every single day is getting better and better. And that's why I think he will be a future top 10, top 5 pick.
That is some high praise. Was there a certain game, or was there something that went viral? I mean, because I kind of know Chet, after he crossed up Curry, that's when he got a lot of that. Obviously people kind of knew his height and everything, but after he crossed him up, like, okay, he can dribble, and then everybody knew about Chet Holmgren. I mean, was there something that he did? Was it one game? I mean, what put him on the map?
It wasn't one game. He's been doing it for a while, but
Consistency.
it was maybe I'd say it wasn't one that blew him up, but one thing that took him where I think everyone did see probably the most viral moment so far was the game against Jay Gupp and Dior Johnson against Mayfair. Kevin Durant sitting sideline. He does his thing, put on a show there. He kind of earned KD's respect there. KD fell in love with his game. That's kind of the moment, but I wouldn't say there's just one thing that necessarily blew him up. He's just kind of gradually kind of earned the respect of everyone over that course of the season.
Ain't no better way to do it than that. Number 5, we got Patrick Baldwin Jr. We did kind of touch on him already.
Yep.
And right behind him, another player that you were talking about. Now, he's only, I think, in 2 of the other, I don't think he's on 24/7's top 10, but we got Michael Foster at 6. What do you think about that?
He's the most NBA ready right now. He has an NBA body. Personally, wouldn't be surprised. My bet is he's going to be going G League because the G League was created for a guy like Mike Foster. If going straight to the NBA was an option, that'd be where Mike Foster is going to be going. He has the strength right now. He has the game, the skill set. He's really exactly the definition of what the G League was created for and what eventually the straight to the NBA will be backed for. He has everything you can ask for. Ball handling. He can run anything. Honestly, I'd be comfortable running him at anything from 3 to 5. You can dominate either one of those positions when you put him in the game at. He's got just everything to his game, and he's something that's going to be spectacular. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to make a comparison to LeBron, KD, those kind of guys. I think that's too high for anyone to originally go after. But Mike Foster being a legitimate pro, he's going to get a huge chance. He's the most pro ready. He's definitely going to be a lottery pick, top 10, possibly top 5. I wouldn't be surprised at all either.
If he could come out this year, would he be a lotto pick?
In the 2020 draft or 2021 draft, I think you definitely would put consideration there. My opinion, this will be one of the better classes we've ever seen before. But when you just look at those names, he has the ceiling that a lot of those guys do as well. So putting in the lottery would not shock me at one bit. I'm not sure exactly what pick it would be at, but I think he would definitely have a chance of being a lottery.
Number 7, we got Jabari Smith out of Sandy Creek. What's going on with Jabari?
He's got another one of those high potentials right now. I love what Jabari brings to the team. I saw him out there playing us live for the first time, but he's athletic and score. And we see him dominating the way he dominates right now with his fragile frame. He's really skinny still. When he gets to Bruce Pearl and that Auburn team, they're going to bulk him up a lot. And when he adds on that weight, gets to an NBA body-wise, I don't even know what Jabari's going to be expect. He's going to jump to another level. And you put him Coach Pearl, we see how he's developing these guys. He's been exceptional out there at Auburn the past couple of years, developing a lot of guys that were unknown, unranked, putting them into this top NBA consideration. He's going to be next up. And we see JT Thor, how he's doing with him. I think Jabari is way better than JT Thor is. And JT Thor's already an NBA prospect. So that jump that Jabari will take when he gets to Auburn will be insane.
So you love him going to Auburn then. Perfect fit for him.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Number 9, actually, excuse me, number 8, we got JD Davis.
Yeah,
Wow,
Davidson.
JD Davidson. Wow, we got to redo that. Number 8, we got JD. Do you want to talk? What are these last 3? Do you want to talk about these, or do you want me to just rattle them off?
I can do JD for sure. I'm not
Okay.
too familiar with Caleb and Kennedy, but for JD for sure.
Okay. All right, we got 3 more prospects left. Schuz is just going to give us a little insight on one more player, JD Davidson. We got him at 8 right now. What can you tell us about JD Davidson?
NBA loves these athletic guards. John Wall, Russell Westbrook really kicked this era off. Now we see John Morant. He's a fan favorite. You can't not like John Morant. This is Jay Davidson. We see, obviously not exactly maybe like, but athletic as I'll get at. This is Jay Davidson. He can score an extremely high clip. We've seen him drop 50-point games nonstop. He's exceptional talent. Very, very, very special kind of player. Like I said, I'm not sure what else you want. This is a guy that's box office, and you go to Alabama, where Coach Oates is maybe one of the best point guard developing coaches right now. He runs about 3 guards out. We see Josh Primo doing his thing, Joe Sackington, John Petty. We see Joanne Quinterly. A lot of these guys are doing the thing with Coach Oates out there. This might be their best prospect yet. I think him and Josh Primo are 2 of the best NBA-wide guys. But him with Coach Oates in the Alabama next year will be box office. They'll be a top-ranked team once again. And when you go to the NBA, just place off the fact that you see a potential of Russell Westbrook, John Wall, John Morant, and the fact that that's box office. Teams are going to love that.
Number 9, we got Caleb Houston. And at number 10, we got Kennedy Chandler. We don't want to get into every single player, even though we kind of did that. But that's Reveal's top 10. Pretty much, I mean, most of the same players. We do have things fluctuating. We did put Peyton Watson in there. What do you think about Reveal's top 10?
I like it. As I mentioned before, 2 guys I think must be in any top 10. Peyton Watson, Mike Foster, both were in there. I definitely like that.
Would you put? I mean, obviously, we're probably missing some people in your opinion. I mean, give us maybe a couple names. Not saying that they're 5, 6, 2, 1. I mean, just put top 10 potential.
Potentially, yeah. And obviously, I'm going for NBA wise. 2 guys that have recently actually reclassed up to go join the colleges this year. One just announced today, Jordan Nesbitt. Another one, Alex Fudge, already at LSU. These are 2 guys that I think are locked in pros, whether it be 1 to 3 years in college, not including this little half year they're going to have. But those guys are now in 2020. Just want to shout them out because they are both phenomenal players. Jordan Nesbitt's a dog. He's going to be perfect. Coach Holloway running that big guard for them. Alex Fudge is a freak of nature. When he adds on that weight, gets to around 200 or so pounds, a little over that. Trent Watford, a couple of guys like that. It's exactly what Alex Fudge will pan out as. Guys that are still in college, high school right now, 2021 still today. 2 of them I want to sit out first, Matt Cleveland and Damian Collins. Damian Collins is putting up maybe the best stats in the country right now for a player. He's off the charts going to Kentucky. Coach John Calipari has been pretty much incredible every year, except for this year's been a little bit of downfall, but it's not going to go against his credit. We know what he's done, his track record. 1 year is not going to affect that. All these guys are in the mix. He's got guys like Willie Cauley-Stein, who's been a good NBA player. All the opposite likes Anthony Davis. I'm not sure where exactly he'll fall. I think he'll definitely be better than Willie Cauley-Stein. Not sure if he's at the Anthony Davis generational level yet, but he's a shot blocker. Probably the most athletic guy. Close guy to, I'd say, Greg Brown from last year in this class. Matt Cleveland, he's dynamite. And you go to the best coach in the country right now for that big guards, that small forward spot with Coach Hamilton at Florida State. It's going to be a dream fit right there. He's got guys in about 4 or 5 years straight to go lottery first round pick at the shooting guard small forward spot. Matt Cleveland will not snap that streak. He will be in the NBA soon. A couple of the guys that I think will be good. Deron Holmes, after about 2 or 3, 4 years with Coach Anthony Grant, he just did an incredible job at Obi Toppin. Deron's pretty much the exact same build, exact same player as Obi can be. I think he's going to throw Coach Grant. A couple of the guys, Jason Ruffin, I think he might be in consideration for the best, not the best point guard in the country. I think a lot of guys always say he's 5'9"-ish. He's not going to get it done. But my personal opinion on height is that if you're tall, that can help you. It's a benefit. But if you're small, it doesn't affect you. If you're able to get a job done, he's been one of the top scorers in every league he's played in. It's going to continue to carry on. I think Dacian Ruff's going to be perfect out there at Ole Miss, and he'll be eventual pro. Arthur Klumer's a guaranteed pro going to UNLV. I like Ahmad Bynum out of Chicago. He's going to DePaul. Potential G League watch for him as well. I love what Ahmad Bynum brings to the team. Manny Obaseki, Benny Williams, Tamar Bates, 3 of the guys that I really do like. And these are some of the guys on top of my head. There are some other big-time players, but these are some guys I'm really excited for the next level.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a crazy. I mean, 2022 going into the NBA is going to be insane. Looking at this list right here of these high school basketball players, real quick before we do get out of here, because we got Trey Pettigrew coming through real quick. How many one and dones do you think are in this top 10 right now?
Out of this 2021 group, are you talking about Reveel or 2021 in general?
On Reveal's top 10.
Okay.
How many one and dones?
I think we're going to look at Chet Holmgren will be one and done. My bet, I've said it before, going to Gonzaga. I think that's been in the books for about a year now, but he's going to be one and done. Jalen Hardy most definitely one and done. I think he's going G League as well, but he's spectacular. Paul will be one and done. We know Coach K does. So that's at 3. Peyton Watson most definitely is 4. Patrick Baldwin, we're excited to see where he's going to go. It's between Duke, possibly playing for his dad. I'm not quite positive on that one yet, but either way, I think he will have a pro potential. Mike Foster will be going G League, so that's going to lead to the NBA. Jabari, I think about 90% sure he's going to go one and done. He might choose the alternate route of saying, I could really bolster myself, stay another year, Coach Pearl. I think talent-wise, he'll definitely be there, but it's going to be up to him. What does he want body-wise? Jay Davidson will probably 1 or 2. Caleb Kennedy could also be in that mix, but so I say you got about 5 guys, 6 guys guaranteed. A couple other guys that definitely will be in the mix right there.
All right, we got Trey Pettigrew here, class of 2022 from Eduprize. He's got offers from Georgia, Illinois, Nebraska, Penn State, Western Illinois. He ranked 186 right now. What's going on, Trey?
Nothing much.
How's the season looking for you guys right now? You're hooping, right?
Yeah, I'm out here at Eduprize in Arizona. It's going well. We're getting a lot of games in.
You just dropped 30 the other night.
Yeah, I did. It was a good game.
How'd that feel?
It felt good. I'm getting back on track.
What's your guys' record right now?
I'm actually not sure. I think it's like
just hooping.
Right. Yeah, I'm just hooping. It's good today. But if I had to say, it's like 11-4 or something. 5.
So you got some decent games in. For the rest of the season, what goals do you have right now? What are you trying to obtain here?
Just keep winning games. Nothing much. Nothing crazy. Just keep getting better every day, and then come together with the team and just keep getting dubs.
And you kind of had a few different moves. You obviously are from Chicago. We talked about last time we talked, I think in July. You made a couple different moves in Arizona. Now you're at Eduprize, but kind of take us through settling down now and all these moves.
It was just getting comfortable, finding a place I wanted to be happy at, and then still get better every day. So once I found a place for me, I just kind of settled in, started working, and then went from there.
And you've had a chance now to play with a lot of big-time guys. We know Bryce, obviously, out there in Chicago. You had Mike Foster for a tad bit there at Hillcrest, but you're just going to play with all these types of big-time players. How have you been able to grow with them and kind of learn from them?
They just all showed me different things. They're all great players in different ways, so you can take different parts of the game and add it to your own and just learn from them and work with them. That's always going to help when it's fun to do.
And just getting back on the court, we know it's been a hectic year of COVID. How's it felt just to be back out there?
It feels good. I like it. It feels good to get games in because a lot of people can't, so I'm just grateful. I try to play every game like it's your last because you don't know if the season might end or you don't know when stuff might get canceled.
And in terms of offers now, you've been able to pull in a lot of them recently. In months of COVID pandemic, amongst all this stuff going on, no visits, no coaches really contacting you in person. How have you kind of got all these offers, and what's it been like just starting to talk to coaches now?
It's just a little bit different. I mean, it's different for everybody because COVID is new. So the whole visits and stuff, that's different. You got to talk kind of through the phone now. I've done a lot of virtual visits and stuff. So it's all just new and different. I'm still getting used to it. But I've kind of talked to a lot of different coaches. So I have a different aspect on things, but it's not that bad.
With some of the offers on the table right now, you got Georgia, Illinois, Missouri, Nebraska. You got big-time schools. You got mid-majors, all this stuff in the mix for you right now. But what are you looking for in a college? When you look at ultimate decision in about a year or so, whatever that looks like for you, what do you want in college?
I want a great coaching staff. I want to come together with the team. There should be a brotherhood there. And then obviously just a good school, just good academics, and then having a good community. All that plays a big part in where I'm going to end up.
So you started in Illinois. Now you're in Arizona hooping. We see the offer from Illinois. You going back home?
I don't know. Anything can happen. it's a possibility. It'd be great to play at home, but all the schools are great too, so I gotta wait and check them all out.
Still feels awesome to get an offer from the hometown, though. You know you got love there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right now, 24/7 has you ranked 186. We were talking about rankings earlier, just throughout this whole show. Do they mean anything? What does it mean? What does it mean to fans, coaches, and the players themselves? What do you think about rankings?
It doesn't mean a lot to me. I mean, it's always something kids look at as like a goal. You set yourself to a high standard, but I'm getting to play them kids on the list you see every day, so you can't complain. Time will tell, and I'll get there eventually. So you just got to keep working and don't let it bother you.
So do you use it as any motivation? Do you say like, man, I want to get to number one, or do you just hoop?
Oh no, for sure. I definitely look out for them guys that are ahead of me, and then when I see them, you just got to go at them.
All right, Trey, we're going to play pass or shoot real quick. Pass meaning I'm passing it off. Shoot means I'm shooting that real quick. Just 7 quick questions. I'm going to ask you the first 3, and then Schuz is going to take over for the last 4. So first off, TikTok.
I'm shooting it.
Shooting TikTok. Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Shooting it.
Jack Harlow's album, That's What They Say.
I'm shooting it. That was heat.
Shooting it.
How about Game of Thrones?
Passing it.
Bowling?
Passing it.
How about horror films?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm shooting it for sure.
And the last one, Brooklyn Nets. They winning it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Easy. Shooting it. Most definitely. Yeah.